morning, Isabel. Turn off the cell phones, please, 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 please. I don't know what part of that statement people don't understand. Just turn them off when you come in. Did I turn you away by saying that? No, okay. Isabel Hoffman.
When I was first invited to be here, I had absolutely no idea why I was invited. And after hearing Richard saying that I represent learning, I'm even more confused. Unfortunately, I don't represent money, so I don't have a lot to tell you about money. I don't even know what people know about me. Yesterday, a few people through the party asked me, what do you do? And the answer is, I actually don't know what I do. I know one thing, I'm a mathematician, and I know another thing, I'm an entrepreneur. Those are the only two things I actually know these days. So my talk is about discrete mathematics. What is discrete mathematics? A series of thoughts that have no continuum. That's what I'm going to talk about. They told me to talk about what comes to your head. So I did that. I went for a restaurant across the street from my office, had a few glasses of wine, and wrote 22 thoughts. Do they have any continuum conversation between them? Very likely not. Do they have answers? Very likely not. Are they going to bore you? Maybe. But it's discrete mathematics for you. And it sort of applies to my life also. Learning. Why did Richard say that I represent learning? Maybe because some of you know me from having started the Information Technology Design Center at the University of Toronto at the end of 91, September 91 exactly. The university invited my company to come in and build a technology training center. And from 91, zero revenue, to 94, we built a $7 million operation. I soon got bored of it. I also soon felt that the university did not allow a business enterprise to be sustained within the confines of the university, and moved on. Created a company called Hoffman Associates, created Nikolai Strains. Some people know me because of Nikolai Strains. They got that wonderful Performa computer with Apple where Nikolai Strains was bundled. Lots of emails from people saying, I called my cat Meow Meow, or the first words my 2-year-old said was Meow Meow. Moved on from, and this is all discrete math, as you see, moved on to something not so related, but also related, into the internet. And today, I run a few internet companies, one of them called Nikolai.com. Today, when I look at the different companies, I have another one that is in the medical realm of the internet for managing pain. I wonder what the future really lies ahead for me. And so I wish I had this magic ball, I don't think these are magic balls, that could tell me what's going to happen. As a mathematician, of course, and as a scientist, I don't believe that you can predict this. But nevertheless, I wish. How many more companies would I have? But the real deep down thought that I have is, can I contribute something to humanity in whatever I do? Company, non-company, book, non-book. Am I contributing something to this whole part that we all belong? And being a mathematician, I think of things in terms of infinity and zero. They are interconnected. Our society has not accepted zero very well. In fact, when you start counting, you want 1, 2, 3. You don't count 0, 1, 2, 3. But when you think of the first hour, it starts at 0 hour, finishes at 1 hour. So it's a dichotomy. Why did we eliminate 0? Because 0 and infinity are complements, and they did not fit into the Aristotelian philosophy. The world was supposed to be finite. Did it have grave consequences to us? Yes, absolutely. The year 2000 bug was a mismanaged, unfortunate insight, or non-insight, of a 0. 0, 0. So all of us predicted that we have lots of problems. Fortunately, there was no problems with the year 2000 bug. There was a mathematician at the beginning of this century called Cantor And he discovered that there were different sizes of infinity. Now, when we think of infinity, we think huge, not measurable. Well, it turns out that there is many, many sizes of infinity. In fact, infinitely many sizes of infinity. And I'm going to take you for a second to perceive what these two sizes of infinity, at least those ones you can perceive, are. If I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I'm counting natural numbers, they call them mathematics. That's one size of infinity. It's a countable size of infinity. It can be counted. We can program a computer program to say x plus 1, x plus 1. Every time the y is equal to x plus 1, and you add on to the variable. Another size of infinity is all the numbers put together. And I'm talking about not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but 0.1, 0.2, 0.001, 0.00001. All the decimals, all the fractions, all the irrationals. You know, the irrationals are very interesting numbers because they were the fall of the Pythagorean, sorry my accent, philosophy. They, as you know, Pythagoras and all their mathematics school loved the golden mean. The golden mean essentially is the ratio when you divide a line into two segments, not identical, and the ratio of where you cut the line of the larger segment to the larger line from equals to the ratio of the small segment to the larger segment. That number is actually an irrational number, meaning a number that is small, it's actually 1.6 something, but it cannot ever be written. So every time you attempt to write the next decimal on that number, it's not computable. It was the fall of Pythagoras, and again, infinity related to it. So Cantor, by the way, discovered these two infinities, went mad, and was put in an insane asylum. All the other mathematicians told him that he was insane. But it is about infinity and zero that we are all about. In fact, can we travel to the speed of light? Will negative gravitational force, if there's any physicists in the audience, you'll know what I mean by negative gravitational force. No one in physics today accepts that there is that concept, that gravitational force can be negative. But it could be. Would it allow us to travel to that infinity? And you know, when you travel to infinity and you go at the speed of light, time stops. In fact, that is a reality. That's Einstein's relativity theory. You go faster and faster and faster, and time is slowing and slowing down. Time is going to zero, so you could attain infinity. You could, in fact, attain eternity, except that at that stage, your mass would be infinitely massive. Again, zero and infinity are brought together in one simple concept. Another thought I thought, nothing to do now with zero infinity, but to do with things that we don't perceive and don't understand. Can flowers feel? Someone here, I don't know his name, talked about the nature of man, sociology and natural sciences, the dichotomy. We often have forgotten to look around us and understand what's around us. So are we able to reverse this age? Can we achieve some immortality without traveling at the speed of light and getting all that mass? One of my thoughts recently, because I do run .com companies, has been this one. Did the internet democratize the commerce of communications? 1994, 1995, everybody believed the internet was an open field, where an open level playing field, where anyone, any voice could be heard. Anytime, anywhere, any place. My time, real time is my time, or my time is real time, or prime time is real time, Negroponte, whatever it was that he said. Today is year 2000. Do we still believe that? Did we accomplish that? Did we manage to create on the internet an equal level playing field? We heard yesterday Gibson saying that musicians will no longer be able to make money with their music. Well, why not? Dominant large media companies have had a big head start. Sure, we all started our companies, but they've had conventional media to promote their websites, and they've had infinitely amount of money to be able to stay in the game. Can anyone small compete in this game? Look at the demise of the dot-coms. Look how many dot-coms have failed over the past few months. I think that interactive multimedia is no longer interactive multimedia. It's interacted multimedia. It's been interacted by someone. I was doing a speech similar to this one on interactive and interacted multimedia on New Brunswick. And essentially my speech said that when we have the large media conglomerates being the ones that provide conduit and content together, AOL Time Warner, AT&T Media One, Disney ABC, I could go on and on and on. Someone from the audience said, excuse me, up here in New Brunswick, it's not really happening. Well, often, the Canadian society does not see globally. Sure, we had our maestro here saying that we are a great Toronto community because we have a mix of cultures, but we don't see globally, and we are way behind what's happening next door. We're seeing that multimedia is no longer available and interactive. We're seeing that it's been interacted by the large media conglomerates. Because why? Because you pay to be in that audience. You pay to be in that mall of AOL, and you've seen. And guess what? The local user, the average American that uses AOL, believes they are on the internet. In fact, AOL tells you the reason why we make our interface simple is because we believe our users are simple people. I should say the reason why we make our interface simple is because we don't want them to get out of the mall. Keep on the mall, stay on the mall. So what can you do? Do you have a chance? Do you really have a chance? Are the governments going to impose anti-monopoly rules and say, hey, you guys, choose between conduit and content? Ha, what a joke. Look at the government, it's after Microsoft 5 or 6 years after. What a joke. So, 5 or 6 years after, Gibson is right, no musicians, no money, no content providers, unless we become the Shahrazads of the internet. Shahrazad, you know who Shahrazad is, I hope you do. Back in 2001, Nights, Arabian Nights, she was given to be wed the Sultan. And the Sultan, first time that he wedded his first wife, discovered that his first wife was unfaithful, so he had killed his wife and decided that from now on, he would have a woman, and at the end of the night, in the morning, after sleeping with her, he would kill her, so that that woman could never be unfaithful again. What did Shahrazad do? She told a story, but she didn't finish the story. The Sultan wanted to hear the rest of the story, so she stayed alive the second day. She continued the story, and after 2001 stories, the Sultan forgave her. Why? She captured an audience. She captured his soul. That is, in my opinion, the only thing possible for the small companies to capture their audience and to capture their soul. Let me tell you a little bit about my company, one of my companies, Nikolai.com. I was speeding on a highway. I was going 200 kilometers an hour, and everybody was speeding with me. We're spending money on marketing. We're spending money on hiring. Are we caring about making money? No, it's all about brand. It's all about bringing that people in. Amazing traffic, 200,000 subscribers, 1,000 people subscribing a day. Amazing statistics, 4,000 subscriptions, 2,000 emails a week from people. 30 million page impressions. That's what in terms of hits, multiply by 7. And suddenly the rule changed. It was April of this month, and someone said, excuse me, you can't go at 200 kilometers an hour. That's nonsense. Go at 60. I don't know how to stop, and I don't know how to decelerate. So I look at my company and I say, we may fold. And what happens? I tell you honestly, and I don't care, the money guy over there hears this. It's not the fucking shareholders right now that count, it's my employees. Why? Why? Because they put in the work. Now, I'm not like the other speaker that says, well, it's an open concept, and when I let go of an employee, the door is all open. Unfortunately, no, there's a few people in the audience here that were my employees. When they leave, unfortunately, there is a sorrow, and if I feel that they don't deserve to come back, I actually happen not to talk with them. So maybe I'm a bitch, that's okay. But you know, what makes an entrepreneur is that bitchy thing. But when it all comes down and said, the most important thing that Nikolai.com did with its employees was touching those children. Last year we got a letter from a little girl. She sent a letter, not an email. We get a lot of emails because she wanted to include a picture. And she said, now, please give this to Santa Claus. Dear Santa, could you, my wish for Christmas is that you reproduce me. Here's my photograph. I'm dying of cancer, and my parents are going to be very sad. Now, when you touch people that way, you know you've done something for humanity. Frankly, maybe Nikolai.com should have been a foundation. The money guy will tell me about that later. I often question if entrepreneurship is in the genes. Norman Fellow said that we are all programmed. That's probably true, probably not true. My grandmother, by the way, was the first female maestro conductor in South America at the turn of the century. She married at 42 after not only she was the first female conductor, but she taught the last emperor in China for 10 years. She was a real entrepreneur. Maybe it's there that the gene is coming from. What really frustrates me is that people don't know how to make decisions, and they want always to be followers. We saw the guy of the fashion. He was telling us, all these people asking me all these questions, why? Because people don't want to take responsibility. I always tell my people, make a decision. Just don't be afraid of being wrong. All you have to be right is 51% of the time. I wonder what happens to those people that we taught. We taught a lot of people from 91 onwards, in the neighborhood of 20,000 people, in fact. I wonder if they taught other people, if they touched other people. I wonder if there's a chain reaction somewhere there. I wonder the same thing about the kids we touch through Nikolai.com. Are they touching other kids? Because one individual cannot do anything, but if one individual touches 3 or 2, and those 2 touch another 2, you do have an exponential growth. And that, again, is all about infinity. After all is said and done, is there something out there behind when we die waiting for us? I don't know. One of my favorite books is a book called Citadel. It's not translated in English, by Saint-Exupéry. Most people know Saint-Exupéry from The Little Prince. Well, his best book is actually Citadel. And it's about building something that stays behind. It's about building that legacy. It's about touching immortality. So, going back to 0 and infinity, what is man in nature? Nothing, a 0 in relationship to the infinity. But the infinity in relationship to the nothing. So somewhere in between the balance of the two things. Thank you.